What's up, guys? It's Noah with Digi Bros. And so today we're coming at you with the winning deck profile of the most recent locals tournament we held over on our Discord. This is Digimon GT, aka Ollie's Blue Omnimon deck profile. I actually got to play against him in the finals, so if I would have won, I would have got first, but Ollie won, so he got first. But because he won, I got fourth, because that makes sense. Finals first, fourth. However, it all works out. Ollie was a really cool guy. So yeah, I hope you guys really enjoy this deck profile.
Hey everyone, my name is Ali Ansari, probably better known as Dynam GT online. I was asked to give a sort of deck tech on the deck I played in the Digi Bros tournament that they have every Sunday. They do a really good job of setting up a webcam tourney every Sunday around 6 p.m. It's a lot of fun. You definitely should join. So I played last week and won, so I'm their bancho for this week. And hopefully the concurrent weeks. But I was playing a blue Garuru Rush deck, which is sort of a mix between a like sort of rush deck that typically you see for Omni Blue, but also has sort of focused on the axis of Garurumon a lot more than sort of the other decks would, because I really like Garurumon. I think it's a lot of fun to play, especially when you have something that your opponent doesn't see, and then all of a sudden you swing 3 or 4 times, and then they're just really confused. I guess I'll sort of explain some of the matchups that I had, as well as some of the card choices I made. So, sort of like I mentioned, some of this deck is very familiar to a lot of you because you might have seen a lot of Omni Blue decks out there, and I tried to make it so that it wasn't the main point of the deck to ever get to sort of stick on Omnimon or anything like that, because while Omnimon is really good, and it is, and so many people say, sometimes a menace in the metagame, I think a lot of the decks out there have sort of evolved to sort of deal with it. I wanted to make sure that I built a deck that I would have fun playing, and so I focused on Garurumon axis. But I also think that if I was to sort of convert it into an Omnimon deck, I don't think I would have as much success or as much fun, because I think the people are looking out there and trying to figure out how to beat that. So you have to play a little bit smarter than you might have to before. But like I mentioned, the sort of the Digitama, or the Digi-Egg that I'm playing, is Upamon. It's probably one of my favorite blue starters in this 1.0 meta. I really like him, or her, I guess. The next one, or I guess my level 3s, or my rookies. The first 4 that I play is, of course, Gabumon. Gabumon is really, really powerful because of the fact that when you pull him out with a Metal Garurumon, on play, you basically get a draw card. So it's as if you digivolved, but you actually didn't have to use another card in hand. So this card basically self-replaces, and cards like that are usually really powerful in a lot of different games. One card that I've started playing that I really enjoy is Gomamon. A lot of times people will remove, this is the Gomamon that gives you a sort of a memory when it dies as you digivolve it. So as a Digivolution source, it gives you a memory. This is very, very useful because it allows you to do things that you may not have been able to do in terms of trading with cards you might not want to trade out. So say, for instance, you have Digivolved on top of this with a Grizzlymon or a blocker of some sort. If you do, then now all of a sudden you gain a memory from that interaction. So somebody swings in, you block with a Grizzlymon, you have this Gomamon underneath, boom, you just got a memory. This is sort of a personal preference thing, but I'm playing Elecmon and Gomamon at a ratio of 3 and 2. This is identical. They're both 3Ks, they're both 2 drops, they're both Evolve 0. The reason why I play it this way is, quite honestly, because I don't want my opponent to know exactly how I'm playing or what ratio I'm playing. So if they just see an Elecmon and they see me playing a Gomamon, they assume I'm playing a full set of maybe 14 rookies. I don't really want to give them game knowledge about how much I'm playing, so I'm playing a little bit of a long con here by basically playing a set fewer of the play set of Elecmon and one more than the one of Gomamon. I've seen somebody play the full 16. That's a lot to me. I don't have a lot of space in here because what I'm trying to do is I play a lot of these options and other cards. You'll find that I'm playing a lot of megas, like not Mega Zoo level megas, but I like megas quite a bit. They're flashy and they do a really good job of what you need them to do. So because of that, I have to cull down some of the other ratios. You'll see this is more prominent in my sort of grade 5s or my level 5s or my ultimates. But so that's the rookies. You'll also see that I'm playing 3 different champions. So I'm playing, obviously, the blocker. I'm playing 3 of them, like I mentioned, because of ratios. I'm also playing 3 of the Gorillamon, and I'm playing 3 of the Garurumon. That's from I think the first set. It's the uncommon one. On play, you unsuspend your one of your Digimon. This is really, really useful. Out of all of these, my favorite is the Garurumon. I was thinking if I had extra slots, first card would be another Garurumon. Another one would probably be another rookie, and the last one would be another ultimate. And I think that the important thing about this card right here, this Garurumon, is that it's deceptively useful. Because of the fact that it's a grade 4, you can pull it out with that Metal Garurumon, and the Metal Garurumon allows you to just basically play it out, and with this you can unsuspend anything. So you can unsuspend your Omnimon if you have it. If you have a, say, another Mega, Volcanic Dramon, Plesiomon, you have Puppetmon, or whatever, you can unsuspend it by just swinging that Metal Garurumon. So doing what the deck is supposed to do by swinging with Metal Garurumon, you are getting more advantage, and that's what I wanted to do when I was building the deck. So this Garurumon is a hidden MVP, or maybe it's an obvious one, but I think it's very, very powerful, and I think the interaction between this and a lot of the other restanders is really, really nice. So Metal Garurumon is probably my favorite. That's not to discount the fact that Garurumon Digivolves for 1 is very, very useful. I think that being able to sort of get to Mega as fast as possible, as efficiently as possible, gives you an advantage. And I think that's one of the advantages that green has, and if blue or other colors can sort of have that Dark Tyranno or Gorillamon or anything like that, I think that is a pace that helps a lot of these decks compete at the higher levels. As I mentioned, I still have 3 of the Grizzlymons. I would play 4 if I had space, as I mentioned, but blockers are so useful. Sometimes they are the difference between losing and winning, is being able to have more blockers out. I just can't understate how useful blockers are, and I would recommend playing at least 3. I would play 4, as I mentioned, but it is what it is. My ultimates are a little scarce. I'm only playing 7. Where Garurumon, just so cool, the art and everything, but like much more of it, probably 80% or more, is that the effect on it is so good. If your opponent has a card without a Digivolution source, it gives the Digimon on top of this, that's Digivolved into, an extra security check. This card, along with one of the Metal Garurumons, specifically this one, become potentially a 4 security break. Basically, what you can do is you can punish your opponent for basically playing all these cards that are really, really high without Digivolution sources, and through that, basically get a lot of advantage. And I'd have 1 more of them if I had the space, and 4 Monzaimon. Also, very, very useful. Sort of the cap of all of this is my Megas, and as you can see, I have a thick stack of them. I'm a huge fan of sort of the idea that this game doesn't penalize you for basically hard casting them. So I have one of the Metal Garurumon that's a 4 to Digivolve. That's the one that has the ability to just once per turn just unsuspend. Critically useful, absolutely. I almost love this one more than I love the other one, but you know, you can't have favorite children, right? You have to love them all equally. But yes, so this Metal Garurumon pairs excellently with sort of the whole Where Garurumon and having the ability to sort of get more for each swing. The other one, this is 2 different arts of the other Metal Garurumon. This is the one that when attacking you play 1 level 4 or lower Digimon. This I have more of because the rest of the deck supports this more. You pull out those Garurumons, you pull out those Gabumons, you pull out those blockers that you Digivolved on top of because you had no other choice. This is synergy with the rest of the deck. This is sort of how the deck runs. This is sort of the cog in the machine that basically gets everything else going. And because it's a 3-drop, like I mentioned, if you're doing the really, really fast route, boom, you pull this out. This is now a on their turn, you give them 3 memory and you already got them there. Like, this is amazing. This is a wonderful, wonderful card, and I cannot understate how much I love this. That's why I'm playing Garuru Rush. You're also going to play Plesiomon. Plesiomon is deceptively good. If on turn 1 you got no rookies and anything, this isn't a bad play to just throw out Plesiomon and see if it sticks. A lot of opponents sometimes panic when you give them 10 memory on their first turn because they don't know what to do. They're just paralyzed by decision paralysis. That sometimes is one of the better routes to go, especially if you are in a sticky scenario. Like I mentioned, no rookies, no grade 1, or sorry, grade 3s, 4s, none of those level 4s. Sometimes it's the best play. I really enjoy it also because it's a 2-drop to Digivolve, so sometimes if you just need to get there to get to Omnimon because that's your only play, that's how you do it. I also have, and this is because I watch the Digibros so much, I love their tech on having Volcanic Dramon and having Puppetmon in every deck. I think it's a really good idea to just sort of have options. As I mentioned, I want to play more of this Puppetmon, more Megas, because if I had space, I would. I'm only playing one. I fluctuate. I've played 2, I've played 3 before. What ended up happening when I was playing more than one is that I kept drawing them instead of, say, rookies or the champion I needed. And instead of going the route of having the right play at a moment that I don't necessarily need it, I wanted to have consistency where each game basically played sort of the same sort of thing. So it was less sort of, I guess, streaky. I wouldn't win like 5 in a row and then lose 20. I would maybe win like 10. And I figured that would be a better sort of way of playing the deck. You can, if you wanted to, sort of go that route. Absolutely, just dig in, play your Puppetmon at 3, play your Volcanic Dramon at 3 or 4. But I think that since I focused on the Metal Garurumon, I didn't want to have more of the other cards that are text than the actual Digimon I wanted to play, so that's why I went that route. I only play on like 2 other Digimon other than this, and it's the Omnimon. I don't recommend playing more than that in the Garuru Rush deck because, like I mentioned, people know how to play about Omnimon a lot of the times. I know it's expensive, and I know that there's a lot of them. I got lucky. Me and my little brother opened these up, so I didn't have to pay any money. Well, aside from the boxes we opened. And if I had more, I doubt that I'd play more than 2, maybe 3. But Garuru Rush sort of centers around the Metal Garurumon. The ability of the Omnimon to delete the same Digimon name sort of is really useful against decks like Diaboromon, against people who sort of overcommit, or decks that basically tend to go wide. But the ability, the blue ability, if you will, the red one being to delete one, the blue one that allows it to swing again and bounce a card to hand, the grade 6 to hand, is really useful for a lot of different things. A, it gives you back the Metal Garurumon that the whole point of the deck is to get. And B, I usually don't go into this unless I have to, because a lot of the time, so for instance, one of the Metal Garurumons, the one that basically like you swing and you get a card back, this one you want to use it more than once. You swing once and get the grade 4 out, you swing twice and get the grade 3 out, or the level 3 out, and that's really useful because it gives you a wider board to build up on. A lot of times when your opponent deletes your field with a Gaia Force or something like that, it's punishing to lose a whole thick stack. But because of Metal Garurumon's ability to sort of split it up into smaller and smaller piles, it makes it harder for your opponent to sort of deal with that. And even if you take those and just run them into your opponent's security just to die, it's still very useful to sort of have that. And so I typically don't go into this unless I absolutely have to, or if they're playing Omnimon themselves. So that's just my take on it. So my last, well, not last, I guess. I have 2 other categories. I have 2 Tamers in this deck. Thought about 3. I played 3 in the past, but the inconsistency of getting the no rookies sort of burnt me a little bit, so I played an extra rookie instead of playing another one of them. Mad Ishida is very, very good. It basically gives you the engine of removing your opponent's sources. It couples with the Metal Garurumon again. Every time you play, not Digivolve, but play a blue card, you can tap this and remove one of your opponent's Digivolution sources. This gives you options. Very, very useful. Not last but not least, we're playing 2 different options. Obviously, we're playing Hammer Spark. This card is honestly one of the largest MVPs of I think the deck. There's been so many games where it's come down to the wire where my opponent has 2 or 1 or even less memory. They've swung to my security, hit this Hammer Spark, been my turn. And it's crucial. The amount of plays that you can chain with this, so like you're at 0 memory, you play this, you play something else, boom. I've done some where basically I've played multiple of these. I played one, digivolved, drew another one, played it again, did another thing, did something else, and instead of playing only 2 things that turn, I got to play 4. Cannot understate how useful it is to just get free memory for just like it's a 0 drop, gives you 1 free memory, and on security, if it breaks, it gives you 2. Super useful. One of the better cards in blue, honestly. Lastly, this is the card that I put in to sort of counter Omnimon myself in the mirror match. It also doubles as sort of a analog for the Gaia Force, or Terra Clusters, whatever color you're basically playing. Cocytus Breath. It's a 7 drop. Return one of your opponent's Digimon to their hand, trash everything underneath it. Very versatile. It's not as useful or versatile as, say, Gaia Force, just straight up killing it, but because of the fact that it sends it to hand, you can sort of punish your opponent for doing something, maybe overextending. They have a thick stack that's only a mega. You bounce it. Maybe it's more useful in the graveyard than it is in the hand. It's really nice to have that sort of thing. And that's the tech. In terms of matchups, in the last tournament, I had the express honor of playing a lot of these very skilled, as I mentioned, the people in this Discord, very good at what they do. And they're all so kind and so nice. I've had a blast playing with everybody that I played with last week before last. They tended to have a mix of different decks. For instance, you have some people that played, like say Omnimon Red or Omnimon Blue. Those like typically like the ones that you hear about. But I played last week multiple purple decks that were very good value purple decks that basically punished me for doing anything that like usually blue does. Like, oh look, I'm swinging a lot. Oh wait, this guy has vengeance. I die. Or oh look, I'm like doing all these different things where I attack, and then oh no, there's all these different things that de-digivolve me in black. Or just basically, I played a bunch of purple decks week before last. I played this last week a lot of Christmas, well, obviously because it was Christmas time, but I played a lot of red and green, Tyrannomon decks, which are very powerful. The Taiga gives their creatures piercing, which punishes blockers. As I mentioned, I only run 3 blockers, so I typically, when I'm playing a blocker, it's to make sure that they don't do something, but having my blockers basically paralyzed, if you will, because it doesn't matter if I block, they're still going to break my shield. Or break my security, meant that they got to security attack +1 or security attack +2 a lot of my cards on the side. So I think it's really useful and really nice to see these different decks, because it makes me a better player to know how to play against them. But as I mentioned, the green decks, and the green basically as the core color of the Tyrannomon deck allows them a lot more explosiveness. They can get up to their mechas really quickly if they're playing Tyrannomon. If they're playing red though, they get access to a lot of the options such as Gaia Force, a lot of the defensive options. So maybe they're playing Mimi in red, maybe they're playing Taiga in red. It's really interesting because they get the flexibility of both of those colors, both of which are very powerful. And the sum of the parts is sometimes greater than the whole. In the sense that maybe red has a certain ceiling and green allows it to push the lower past it. So I think those are very useful. As I mentioned, I play against a lot of people in these different tournaments. I also want to shout out some of my friends that I've played with online. John, for instance, or he goes by Kubo. He's part of a team called Team Dumpster Kids, and he plays exclusively black. And it's just really just humbling to watch how Diaboromon can just dump on Omnimon and all these different cards that you see, and I think that's one of the reasons why I was able to sort of react to my opponent's plays as much as that I just got dumped on so badly by these different colors that you would expect to be rogue. So I think that was really useful. What else? I think the game that I mentioned, the Petit Party one, is that Omnimon mirror. I wouldn't say that I'm really an Omnimon deck, but because I run Omnimon, I guess I can count myself in that category. That's the game that was 56 minutes. And red versus blue Omnimon, you're going to have to be careful of a couple things. One, they are bigger than you. So at any point in which you're not Omnimon, they are bigger than you and they will kill you. Whether that is at the ultimate stage, whether that's on the champion stage, they're just going to hit you for harder. they're also playing a lot more of the removal cards than you are. They might have a couple of things that just blow you out, whether that be Gaia Force, whether that be the Volcanic Dramons. They are just going to be doing a lot of the things that Omnimon wants to do better. That isn't to say that Omnimon Red is better than Omnimon Blue, though. Omnimon Blue just does a different thing. Omnimon Blue allows you to play a lot of those Hammer Sparks, get free memory. It allows you to turbo a little bit faster. It allows you to do a couple more swings. It's a little bit more stable. It's just that with cards that give you extra security attack, with cards that give you extra power, it just makes Omnimon hit harder. Maybe not Omnimon directly, because Omnimon isn't red, but in the sense that all the other cards, all the other components just hit a little bit harder, you might not make it. I would say that Omnimon Blue is supposed to be better a long-term one, but because I'm not an Omnimon Blue deck, and I only play 2 Omnimons, my end game against an Omnimon Red deck isn't very good. That's probably one of the weaknesses of the deck. I'd say one of the largest weaknesses is because I'm trying to cram so many different engines in this deck. Sometimes I do get stuck without the right grade or right level, so maybe I'm stuck on Rookie, or maybe I'm stuck on Champion or Ultimate. The ability of the deck to sort of digivolve in other ways, sort of like do different things, or maybe I cast an Ultimate or a Champion. I play the Teddy Bear, Monzaimon, or maybe I play the blocker, Grizzly one, and then I digivolve from there. That sort of flexibility is really, really useful, and it sort of is not something your opponent really expects. So that's sort of how I get around that. But I will say that because I'm playing, like, say, 7 Ultimates, or I'm playing maybe, I think, 8. No, I'm playing 9 Champions. That's a big deal. I think that maybe that's not ideal. You'd want to play a little bit more. But all in all, I really, really love this deck. I have a couple decks I may have mentioned, maybe not. I also have a red deck that's a Gallantmon Red. It's sort of centered around War Greymon and also Gallantmon. Has 2 functional axes that basically punish your opponents in different ways. War Greymon to basically sort of destroy your opponent's security, also allow you to sort of kill your opponent's blockers, get their graveyard really big, and then finish them or Tudormida with the Gallantmon. I also play green. I don't really necessarily think that my green deck is very good, but it's a Hercules Kabuterimon Rush deck. I like it because I think that green has a lot of advantages that will only get better in later sets. You know, cheaper evolution costs, the ability to sort of play things. And honestly, I like blue a lot because like my deck that I'd like to build in 1.5 is Ulforce Vigramon, and I think that's probably a higher level of I wouldn't say like it's degenerate or anything, but I think it's a higher level of fun, of complete well, basically, the way Ulforce Vigramon works is that you tap one of your tamers and you can restand it or make it unsuspend. And it gets dumb because you tap them for their own effects that untaps your guy, and it just gets silly because tapping them can draw you cards, tapping them can give you power, tapping them can do things like search your deck for a certain card, or the top 5 cards for a certain card. It just gets silly. And I love that so much. And I've seen sort of the way that Ulforce plays. You have like, what, 14 or so different tamers or something crazy like that. And the whole point is you play only 4 megas and that's it. Just win. If you don't win, you lose. And I think that's really funny. I think that's sort of the deck I want to play. But yeah, thank you guys for your time. Thank you for the Digibros for basically like letting me do this video. They are absolutely the kindest people. I know you see them on your videos. You know, I think that Noah and Levi are just really, really kind people in general. You can tell that from their videos and how much care they put into it. But in person on their Discord, they're just gems. Every single one of them. They're so funny, so much fun to play with, and I strongly recommend that if you have the opportunity to join their Discord, absolutely do it. The people in there, just stellar people. That's pretty much all. Like I mentioned, my name is DynamGT. You might see me around, and if you do, shout me out. I'd love to play you guys. This game's great. I love this game, and I think the people in it are great too. So that's all.